So, Penn, what are some of the favorite battles that you've put together as a curator, promoter?
There's been a lot of interesting battles that I put together, and there's a lot of interesting ones for different reasons. Like a lot of the platinum battles, the ones that did a million more views. I'm proud of that just because of the view count.
Right.
And I'm like, I did that. So anyone,
Name some of those. Just
Swave of Disaster.
right.
That's a favorite of mine because that whole event, the story behind that whole event was crazy.
Right.
And that was the first time Disaster came to New York.
The Saurus also battled that night.
The Soros and Cortez battle that
That was a
night
good
as
battle
well.
too.
There was a lot of good battles that night, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about that. But the Swave and Disaster hit. I don't know if the Cortez and Soros hit a million or more. Swave and Disaster definitely had a million,
Right.
more than a million.
What was the story behind that?
Behind Swave and Disaster.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone follows the battle scene, you know Disaster is a very polarizing figure. You know what I'm saying? Like you love him or hate him. You know what I mean? And he feeds into that very well.
Yeah.
So I was just saying when he was coming out here, a lot of people didn't want him out here. You know what I mean? A lot of people ain't want him out here. A lot of people, was
He's from LA too, right?
yeah, he's from the valley. He's from the valley. So a lot of people was like, plotting and scheming type shit. And I'm like, well, I understand what he may have said online and shit like that, but you understand if I bring him here to do this event, first of all, this is for the culture. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, if something happens to this guy, that's nobody's gonna ever wanna come out here and fuck with us. You know what I mean? And three, if I bring this man out here to handle business and y'all violate him, that's a violation to me. So you know what I mean? So please don't do that because I love y'all and I don't want to be at odds with y'all neither.
Right.
So I just say that in a nutshell. You know what I mean? So it was I had to do a lot of damage control when Diz came over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of and one of the reasons that battle was so special too. A lot of other future battles spawned from that, like from Swave and Disaster. Disaster and DNA came out of that. Disaster and Cortez came out of that. You know what I'm saying? And which Drake was a part of. So all that, like that event right there, spawned so many other side stories and side quests in battle rap. So Swave and Disaster was a favorite of mine. You know what I mean? Just due to like the tension and everything. And then once the battle happened, you know what I mean? You see, he made it back safe. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? So that was good for me because I wanted to make sure. So that was a very pivotal battle for me.
Has he battled in New York since?
Did he battle? I don't know if the T-Rex battle was in New York, but he hasn't battled in New York in a very long time. You know what I mean. I know him and Hoffa was at odds. So I ain't gonna get into all that.
Right.
That's a whole nother story. But
Shelter Math though.
he ain't been in New York in a while. But that was his first time
Right.
venturing out to the side, and I had make sure he was good and all of that. And at that time, it was a beautiful thing. So and we got a classic battle out of that. So that's a goodie for me. Sue Surf versus Conceited. Sue Surf versus Conceited. I'm very proud of that one too because that's when I was intermingling, working with URL. I don't know if that was before or after we made the announcement, but I was already working with them. Had Swave over there, bought money bags over there. Like, but half of the street dudes we had went to fucking URL, and I went over there too.
Half.
All of them. Thanks, Ronnie. So, but Conceited and Sue Surf was crazy because that was a part of I'm gonna believe the Armageddon. Like all these cards, this has been a long time. So I think it's the Armageddon card. It was on 23rd Street at what's the 20 Gramercy Theater.
Yeah.
Gramercy Theater. This is like 2012, and it was